Hello, Stuart here at Hobbyking.com. Now I'm here on this rather dull day, but excited nonetheless to tell you that we here at Hobbyking will be carrying the Dancing Wing range of kits and ARFs. And the purpose of this video is just to introduce you into what we're going to be carrying and give you also a little flight demonstration of the ARF Eindecker that I've got in front of me here. So without further ado, let's go into the details. Now, Dancing Wing is a balsa company that's been around for some time now, and over the years they've really been improving their kits and now their ARF offerings, and that really got our attention. And you will now be able to get Dancing Wing models in all of our warehouses, and there is a selection of models available initially, and we will be expanding that range as we roll forward. It's a mixture of ARFs and of kits and even a static model too, and as I said, as we roll forward we'll be adding more of their offerings to the range. Now there is the Eindecker. We had it as a kit, but there is also now this ARF version. I'll go into details on this in just a moment. There's also a similar sized SE5A if you like that World War I stuff as I do. There's a nice high wing trainer. There's a extra 300 I believe it is, in a really vibrant scheme for those of you guys that like the 3D aerobatic stuff. There is their newer Stearman biplane, and there's also a really nice stick sports model. You'll be seeing images of all of those as I talk through this video now. But for those of you that do like to build, we will of course be offering their kits. There's a Spacewalker, there is a high wing vintage model and a glider, in addition to the kits that we've already been carrying for some time here at Hobbyking. Now, if you don't like balsa at all, there is some foam profile stuff and like a Depron indoor flyer as well, a small flyer. And if you just like to build for the sake of building, there is a static model initially as well. I think it's a blimp, something like a Zeppelin or something like that. But anyway, full details will be below the video. There'll be a link to the full range. So I'm going to talk about the Eindecker specifically because this is one that I've assembled from the ARF, and we are going to give it a little demonstration. Really, really nice kit. I mean, the Dancing Wing is a great value for money, and for the money you actually get a very well constructed model with some really nice details out of the box. So it's ARF, as I said, so it comes all completely covered pretty much as you see it here. I will add that I have modified it, and that's the great thing about ARFs. They do lend themselves to modifying, but it's two very simple modifications. For me, visually, I wasn't a fan of the kind of like light olive green they had underneath, so I replaced that with silver on the underside, as you'll see when we're out flying if you don't see it already. Also, just for orientation, I added this blue and white striping to the fuselage here. It's actually reminiscent of a gentleman called Ernest Udet, who was a famous World War I ace and then later went on to be a Luftwaffe commander in World War II. This blue just gives a little bit of differentiation for me, but that's just a personal modification. By and large, the covering is very well applied and has these nice iron crosses, as you see, all pre-applied. It is a all-moving tower with an all-moving rudder on this. That's in a part of the assembly point, but that's very easy to do. And this thing can probably go together in just a few evenings. Setup-wise, I've actually got a Tundra setup on this. It's the Tundra motor, and it's running on a 4S and a 13-inch prop. The dummy not radial, rotary engine that you see is included, really nicely detailed, comes out the box fully assembled like that, as does the gun and the chamber for the spent rounds. This is not structural, but it's a very pretty aesthetic addition. It has these really nice fishing clips actually to get the wires on. It's a little bit of a fiddle to get it initially assembled when you're putting the rigging wire on the model for the first time, but once it's on, in terms of assembly at the field, it's very, very quick because these are just little clips, and with the wing being two-part and just 2 bolts to bolt on, it takes less than a few minutes to assemble. Also means it transports very well. Now, the other nice feature, and it shows quite a lot of thought has gone into this, this area at the front here, in real life, that is like aluminium sheeting, and they've burnished the covering here, so it gives a really nice metal effect. Looks very cool. I'm very, very impressed with that out the box. Also, this is magnetically held, the cowl, so if you take the prop off, that whole thing just slides off really easily, which makes access to the motor very, very simple too. In terms of other electronics, I've just got standard, just super basic standard size Hobbyking servos throughout. The pull wire is included included for the rudder and tail mechanism, and then it's just a simple pushrod system on the aileron, so 4 servos in total. And I am running this, as I said, off of a 2200 Forest, and I get around 7 or 8 minutes flight time on that. Doesn't need full throttle at all, as you'll see when we get out there, but it's nice to have that power in reserve, and I've got a 50 amp speed controller just right up the front. So yeah, it breaks down very, very well for transport, very easy to access the battery. The only addition to the kit that wasn't included was the pilot, so I've just found an old pilot in my box and I've put that in there. The only other thing I did in terms of modifications, other than the adding of the trim here, is the tail. I added a tail skid rather than the included steerable tail wheel. I just thought it added a little bit more authenticity to the type of product. It's quite easy to do, and I think it just looks better. But again, it's an ARF, so you can modify as your heart's content. It does mean on the ground it doesn't taxi just as well, but if you've got any experience of flying these models, that would not be a problem for you at all. Also, it's got that really, really nice, really quite authentic looking undercarriage. It is metal and it is sprung. I'll give you a little demonstration later on towards the end of the flight video of how that sprung undercarriage works. So all in all, really nice quality kit, and that extends to the whole range of dancing wings that are available now from most, if not all, of our warehouses. So check out the link below for the full range, and there will be more stuff coming from Dancing Wings as we increase our partnership with them. So without further ado, let's go out and give you a little demonstration of the Dancing Wing ARF Eindecker. All right, so we've given you the introduction. Now we're going to go out and give the Eindecker a little spin. I may have mentioned it before, even though I didn't. I'll go into it again. This is basically a Tundra setup on here. I've got a Tundra motor running on a 4-cell pack and a 13-inch prop, and it flies really well. The wind is picking up a little bit now. It's a little bit grey, but anyway, you'll see. It's a really sweet little flyer. And we'll taxi out there into wind, and then we'll take off and give you a little flight review of the Dancing Wings Eindecker. Okay, so it's into wind. You want to hold elevator in and watch for the rotational torque when you initially apply power. Counter that with the rudder, slowly increase power, and away she goes.
That does not need much.
No, it does not need much. It's a very, very light model, which if there is some wind, it will get a little bit knocked around, but in that respect, it's much like the full size. Of course, this is only a sports scale model, but look at this. Very, very sweet. I'm on just under, probably about a third throttle now. I'll do a few low passes, and I personally just love doing this, slow orbiting around the field kind of thing. For me, it's indicative of how, these things fly, or at least when you see them at air shows, for the few that you do see at air shows. And now I'm going to go full power, which is ridiculous, of course, because it's a Forest setup. And I get long flight times on this 2200 Forest, so this is a full power pass, which is silly, really, really silly, but it can do it. And I'll go up into a loop at this point. A little bit squally out of that, but that's okay. Bit of a crosswind there. I'm going to bring it round to the left now, using quite a bit of coordination in the turn, but that's what these types of models like. I'll bring it for a crosswind pass now with the wing over a bit. Lovely. My CG is a little out, so it's not flying as straight as it was during the day before. With my CG was a little more spot on, but I was rushing to put the pack in. But that just tells you that it can, it behaves well even with the CG out slightly. So here we go. Look, show you the top of the wing a bit more. Well, there we go. Lost my orientation there. But yeah, a very nice fly, very, very quaint model. It's better in the calmer conditions for sure. We are getting a few gusts now, but it's a real sweetheart. You can expect flight times on a 2200 in excess of, I think, probably around 7 or 8 minutes. I'm going to do touch and go now. I've only got very low settings on the elevator. It's an all-moving tail, don't forget. So I'll try and bring it into wind as much as I can. Get it settled. And she touches and she goes. There we go. Very, very nice. Let's do a hammerhead at the end of this pass. Hopefully those colours are sticking out. Alright, so I'm going to go across us like this, and then I'm going to go up and hit the rudder, and there she goes. Catch it on the elevator, reduce throttle. Very, very nice. Now I have done the modification with the colour scheme. I took off the what's supposed to be like an antique colour on the bottom, but it's more of a green, and I just replaced that with the silver. So it's silver top and bottom, but I added this blue stripe on the back, which is a bit more reminiscent of Ernest Udet, a famous World War I pilot and later Luftwaffe commander in World War II. He flew an Eindecker in a very similar scheme to this, with that blue stripe, and for orientation and visual aids, that definitely helps a little bit. Get a nice little pass here. Oh, bit off on the power there. Does need throttle management, but that's okay.
But you are saying that if you have a busted up Tundra lying around, you can just take the powertrain out and pop it in here.
Or, you know, we do get parts for our models, and if you see the Tundra motor in stock, I can definitely recommend it. 4S is overkill for this, but it's nice to have the power in reserve.
Could it handle it weight-wise?
Yeah, it's handling it just fine.
Nice.
I'm going to land now, because this is pretty much all it does, but it does it very nicely. So reduce the throttle. Don't come in with no power, because you want to catch it on the flare, and then flare, and then flare. There we go. And it has got an actuated undercarriage, which I can give you a demonstration.
Can you zoom in a bit? See if you can get... Yeah, there we go.
Well, it's very light, so you don't really see it too much in action on the ground, but if you have a heavier landing, it will certainly cope. Of course, you can see that nice dummy motor that's, or the, what's it called? It's called a, oh, my mind's going blank. It's a rotary engine in real life, but of course, it's just fixed on the model. But really, really nice detail there. They got a nice burnish effect on the front end to give it that metal effect.
Can you give me a real good view of the motor?
Yeah, sure.
A lot more to see there.
There we go.
Oh, that's pretty.
Yeah, really, really nice. Comes out of the box like that. Really, really impressed. The actuation on the gear. How can I best do this? It's got all these wires and undercarriage bits hanging around, which, whilst authentic.
Is that what the slots in the side is for?
Yes, yes. So here we go. Okay. So if I push, see that? Yeah, it's quite simple, but it works really, really well. And the gun is included as well. The pilot isn't. That's just a little addition I made. But there we go. That is that's the Dancing Wing Eindecker ARF, slightly modified, as I said, with my trim on the fuselage here and my tail mod, which I mentioned before. But all in all, a really, really sweet flyer, and you can look out for more Dancing Wing models on our site. There'll be a link below in this video, both kits and ARFs such as this, and there'll be more stuff coming from them at Hobbyking as we roll forward into the future. So thank you very much for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe, and hope you enjoyed this video and introducing the Dancing Wing range. And as I said, look out for more coming at hobbyking.com in the near future. Thank you very much, and goodbye.